Hey y'all, lovely hustles here, and I have some tips on how to be a momager to a child actor. This is my son here when he first started at the age of 8. That's his comp card. The front is just his picture, his main best picture. On the back there are a few other pictures and angles along with contact information. This was one of his first auditions that he had to do, and a lot of them look this way. They're in a room. There may be 1 to 2 people, sometimes 3 to 4 people, depending on the audition itself and how big or small the production is. But acting is a really good experience. Kids get to learn how to network, they get to learn how to speak publicly and be able to have confidence in themselves. I know a lot of times kids are afraid or they're scared or they're nervous, but you know they have the talent. So it's important to build their confidence. I know when he started acting early, he was very comfortable. He loved being behind the scenes. He loved putting on the headsets and getting to see how to work the cameras and really talk with the crew, the film crew and things like that. So I'm glad he got to have that experience and see what it's really like. This is another behind the scenes here that he did for a toy called a Circuit Scribe. They were more STEM based, taught you how to like drive drones and do things like that. And this is the finished product of it. It was a really good shoot. The kids had a lot of fun learning how to build and actually make these things. So it was a good experience for him, and he got to make a new friend on top of that. There's also experience with green screens. He did a small role for a medical infomercial, which was really cool. He pretty much sat in a medical bed and looked sick for the most part. Very easy, very much fun, and you make easy money. This is another film that he did where he was at a wedding. They are actually filming, and they actually really did have a good time. This is another film he did. This is behind the scenes for the Self commercial. It's an app that helps you with learning how to fix your credit and build credit with a credit card. This was filmed in Austin, Texas. At the time we were living that area. Also, here is the finishing product. It looks really good. I love this commercial, and we watched it all the time when we saw it on TV. This is another early kind of role that he did where he had to actually use some emotion and learn how to cry. Clearly he wasn't doing a good job, but hey, practice makes perfect. Here's another film that he did. It's a short film. This ends up being a blooper in which it was really funny because he kept messing up, but the crew understood. I mean, he's a kid. Come on, you guys. He had people laughing in front of him, so he couldn't help it. One thing I like that he got to do was have fun on the sets that he worked on, and then also there were times when there were just long days of sitting around, literally. So parents, beware that you may have to sit, not you may, you will be sitting for hours and hours and hours throughout the day, most likely the whole day, if not half the day. Now, a lot of companies do actually provide food, drinks, water, things like that, lunch, but sometimes they don't. One thing I did invest in for him was acting classes. I wanted him to see that there are other kids that are just like him who are interested in acting and just the sport of it. I wanted him to kind of get out there and build confidence that way as well. He also got to experience doing a voiceover, which was really cool because he got to do it for a cartoon that was kind of based around him. Here's another photo shoot that he did for a film that he did in Dallas. This is a really cool film that we did, and he really enjoyed himself with that crew. And then, of course, I invested as well with him doing pictures. I want him to get some different types of pictures, seeing him in different angles and different clothes, different colors. So I experimented with that and found a really good photographer in Austin who really made my picture and my vision come to life. This was an experience I will never forget. This is the first time we ever saw his name on TV. And as you can see right here, his name is Trey Thomas. He was Sean in this film, and it was so cool. A lot of times they'll also have auditions that they'll have to do on the computers. He also did this video right here where he was in a snack commercial that was based in Austin as well. So it was actually pretty cool to see him do so many different things, you guys. As a child actor, you know how kids are. They're antsy, they want to move around, they want to have fun, they want to jump and play. I say that is all okay, but still teach your child how to behave in these settings. A lot of times the producers and things, they get nervous. They think the kids are going to mess up the set, in which we actually witnessed that many times. So it's important that you do teach your child how to be well behaved at times. When there's long periods of time where they're not in front of the camera and filming, make sure they know how to act and behave themselves. Give them something to do. And of course, this is his favorite part, making the money. He loved making the money. We saved all of it, but I will say the first time he made money, we let him buy what he wanted to buy with the money just so he could have some experience, and he bought a trampoline. Can you believe that? We went half on him with a trampoline. Sometimes some of the things that they may be in as far as acting can be very emotional, can be tied to some things that are maybe not always talked about or discussed, or that they may know of or experience. So make sure to explain to them what's going on and the why, so that they kind of have an idea This is our first overnight shot that we did before, that we filmed, and it was pretty cool. It literally was all night long until the sun came up, and that was a very long shoot, but he had a lot of fun doing it. The crew was really cool. They let him have breaks, and the set was just really nice. It's always good to have a really nice, welcoming filming crew to work with, which makes it easier for not only the mom, but also for the child. Another thing that I can say we worked with was Nickelodeon. This was a shoot here we did in Austin with them. But most importantly, you guys, when it comes to auditioning, this is a full out, really good example of how auditions work. Like I said, get ahead with the wardrobe. Always buy solid color tops, simple plain jeans, no rip stuff, no logos, none of those things should be on the clothing. When we auditioned, we took our auditions seriously. I had him dressed the part. The setup was him being a school kid on a bus, so I had a chair there for him to sit on the bus. I had a pretend cassette player in his hand. So always, if you feel like you're doing too much, you're doing just enough. Always go above and beyond for auditions. This was our first time being able to see him actually on TV. He was playing a lawyer as a child, and it was such a funny comedy. He really enjoyed doing this and filming the scene with these adults. It was a very good and funny film for him. Another thing you should consider setting up is what's called a Coogan account, or UTMA, UTMA. These accounts are accounts that you can save their money in as they make money acting, and it sets up limitations for them to where they can't even touch the money until they're like 18, 21, 25, and it helps them to be more responsible. It helps you to help them out, whether you want the money for them to use for college or for a car when they go to college, things like that. So it's really good to have these accounts set up. It protects them, it protects their money, and it teaches them how to save as well. The important thing you need to make sure that you do is make sure that there's a way for people to find your child, right? You need to make sure that you have some type of a social media page set up. Also set up a profile with Backstage.com. They charge about $10 a month annually, or you can pay $24 a month, but honestly, it's worth it. You're going to have access to all of these auditions, castings, big, small, and in between. So one thing that I learned and I got to do was I got to be a part of a film that my son was in. As you can see, that's me right there. I actually sat in for a table read with my son, and they were like, hey, can you read this person's lines? Are not here. I read them, and the next day they were like, can you come in and actually do the film for us? And I was like, of course. One last aspect I want to mention really quickly before I end is make sure that you communicate with your child's school. Make sure that you prepare for travel time, because all of these things are very important. If you have any more questions, comment and I'll respond back. Thank you guys so much for watching. My son's been an actor since he was 8, and I think he is now 15. Not I think. He's 15 now. So he's been acting for almost coming up on 10 years, and he's absolutely loved it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.